guys, welcome back to another edition of Chats from the Blog Cabin. And today, actually, the whole month of March, I'm doing women's empowerment, women's history, because it's Women's History Month. And I'm so excited that this guest is on, Kary from Real Housewives of Dallas. But before we get started, I have a quote, and I normally quote a famous person, a famous woman, but I went and stalked your Instagram to find a quote. So it's actually one that was just a couple of days old, I believe, and it says, "Whoever is trying to bring you down is already below you. Never, ever forget that." And I love that. So I had to share that because for so many women out there, people tend to let judgment just bring them down.
Oh, 1,000%. I'm a huge believer. I have 4 kids, 3 daughters, and I tell them that all the time. Just don't ever listen to those people because they're already below you. People that want to bring you down, it's jealousy or, just their own insecurities. You need to just keep going up and don't listen to those people.
And Kary, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Now, tell us a little bit about who Kary is. I know who you are, but for those that don't know who you are, tell us about who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico. I was, grew up there, practically my whole childhood. I came to the United States to live with my dad when I was about 15. I came to Dallas to go to college. I went to SMU and got a marketing and finance degree from there. And then after SMU, I, got married super young to my, college boyfriend, also from Mexico. And, we ended up having 3 kids. And then, we got divorced and I got remarried to my current husband, Eduardo, and he's also from Mexico, which is funny. I've been in the States and I'm married to Mexican men. And then, so I have 4 kids that I'm really proud of. And I was a mom for so many years. And about 5 years ago, I started my jewelry line, Camo by Kary. And, and now I'm, just doing the show, jewelry, being a mom, just everything.
So tell us about your journey of how you got on the Real Housewives of Dallas, because I know it has to be an amazing story, correct?
Well, yeah, a really good friend of mine, Kary Duber, she was one of the original cast members, and we've been friends for over 10 years. And, whenever they first, asked her to do it, she was like, "Kary, you need to try out with me, And I was like, "No way." She was like, "Oh, you would be perfect." I was like, no. Like, I was not like even thinking about it. And then every year after that, she's like, "Well, they're auditioning." And I was like, no. And then finally, the couple of years ago, I remember I was in my kitchen and I was on the phone with her and I was like, my kids are older now. I really want to get my jewelry off the ground or do something for my own. I want to make my own money. I was really, really ready at that point to start, doing something other than being a mom and having a career. And she said, "Well, they're auditioning again." And I was like, "Oh gosh, Kary." I was like, "Okay, you know what? This was December. So just put my name, see what happens." And then 2 days later, they called me. And before you know it, I was doing a Skype interview. And before you know it, a month later, I was already like interviewing. And it was so fast. On February 14, like Valentine's Day, is when they called me to say, you're going to be on the show. So it was definitely, I was like really freaked out. I was like, I can't believe it. And I was really like stressed out. But, then I just kind of said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And once I decided and I just kind of went with it and I said, I'm just going to be me and go with the flow and see what happens.
See, so how much, I can't even imagine being surrounded by cameras all the time. Did that not freak you out to begin with?
It was a little bit at first, but, they do the interviews before that to make sure, you're okay with the cameras. And I think a lot of people are not. And I was very lucky that they didn't, like, you just have to act like they're not even there, and it's so weird that you really end up getting used to it and you just do your thing. And I don't even notice them, which is weird.
That is weird. Now, what does it mean? Has people come up to you and say thank you for being on the reality show? Thank you for being a person, a woman of color, a person of Latina descent, excuse me, a Mexican on a reality show, because you don't normally see that.
Oh, yeah. I've had so many amazing people say thank you for representing, the Latina community. Thank you for being on the show and having an accent, because, a lot of people have accents out there, not only Latin people, but from every culture. And I've had so many people just really appreciate the fact that I have an accent, and, and you can still be successful. And an accent is, a lot of people, I feel like, which I was not aware, that they thought it was almost like a disability. And, because people didn't understand them or they felt ashamed. So it's been amazing, the whole, accent part of it, for sure. As well as, obviously, my daughter struggling with depression, me talking about how tough it is to be a woman and having a prenuptial agreement, and I'm, making your money, being so dependent on your husband. So yes, I mean, I've definitely had so many people in so many different ways relate to me and thank me. And I mean, I've had so many women reach out and say that, I have really motivated them to start a business or start career, early, I mean, later on in life after kids, because a lot of people, they thought that it was just not possible, and they see me doing it and, doing good. So I've motivated a lot of people, and I'm so blessed for that.
Have your kids ever said, "Mom, don't do the reality show," or were they 100% for you doing it?
I will say that at the beginning, a couple of my kids were extremely for. Two of them were very like, oh, I don't know about this. The other two were like, go for it. And then after the first year, I definitely think that they were all very much on board. They see that I've been thriving. They see that my business has been doing great, and they really respect that. And I love them to, like, I like to be that. Role model for them, that they can do anything at any time. And that, yeah, you are going to have a lot of people that don't get you or don't respect you, but then you're going to have a lot of people that you do inspire. So, that's life.
How are you? Have you always been this so confident in yourself, or have you struggled with it?
I definitely had a very tough childhood, and I definitely think that my childhood made me strong, a much stronger person. So, and that's what I tell people. Sometimes when you have struggles in life, and my parents were divorced when I was young, and my mom was an alcoholic, and I had a lot of struggles, and I just feel like the tough times in life is what builds character. I mean, so I feel like, don't, like, I tell people, if you're struggling, if you're going through hard times, always know that you always grow in those times, and you become such a better person, and learn so much from that. So
I know. I told you one of the reasons when I reached out to you that I wanted you on is because I wanted my girls, because my girls are first generation Mexican Americans. I'm an American. My husband's from Mexico, but I wanted them to have a role model that they can look up to, and someone that they can say, hey, she's made it into at least reality TV, because my girls are all big reality TV people, especially my oldest one. So thank you from the bottom of my heart as a mom doing this, opening up your life.
And that's a lot. Thank you.
And just your accent as well, and not trying to shame or not hide where you're from, because a lot of people have to hide where they're from.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people, oh my gosh, haven't you not tried to get rid of your accent or what? I go, first of all, I can't even tell I have an accent until I hear myself on TV. And I mean, I'm just used to listen to myself all the time. And secondly, I mean, English, I didn't learn English until I was 16. So I really, I mean, Spanish is my first language, and I'm proud of it. I love everything about Mexico. I love the food. I love the music. I mean, that is my heart at the end of the day.
So do you think being on the reality show, you're able to open up to people and show people what Mexico is really like, instead of what the stereotypes of what people think Mexico's like?
I mean, I hope so. I really, really, I mean, I was able to tell the cast, to Mexico, to our house in Mexico, that is amazing and we love it. And I'm hoping to be able to do another. I wanted to do a very traditional San Miguel de Allende, Mexico trip, this year, so people can see that the culture is amazing, the food, and and all of that. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they can see a little glimpse of what it's like.
Now let's talk about Camo by Kary. Why did you start that?
So I started that about 4 or 5 years ago because I wanted to do something for myself that it was my own money, and I wanted to start becoming a career person, and I knew I could do it. I love jewelry. I love pearls. I really couldn't find anything that I liked in all the stores that was not like old lady or whatever. Like I wanted some pearls, make pearls in a more fashionable way, and that were not super expensive either. So I started playing with jewelry and making jewelry and necklaces, and people were buying them off of me. So, I was like, I think I have something special here. So I just kept designing, and I just loved it. I just really become one of my passions. I can just very therapeutic. I can sit there for hours making designs and picking, different gems and jewelry, and I love it. It's just really has become a big passion of mine, and I love when people buy my jewelry and wear it, and it's been amazing. I would say that the pandemic really was tough. I getting through it. It was I struggle like any small business, but I'm doing really good right now, and I'm very proud, and I love that it's a woman and Hispanic and a small business, and I'm making it, and that's just, I mean, just amazing.
So are each one of your pieces handmade by you?
Every piece of mine is designed by me, and everything I picked it myself. Now that I'm selling a lot more, I do have someone that helps me. Like I take it to them and say, make me 10 of these, and I tell them exactly what pearls to put on and or all the pieces. But I have help. Somebody helps me making them now.
Now, because the volume has increased so much.
Yes.
And how much do you sell on your website? Because I know a lot of times you were doing trunk shows with Deandra. So how much were the trunk shows and how much were on the websites?
I mean, like it all varies, it's so unpredictable. I mean, and the trunk shows, we normally just do them around December. I want to be able to do some more throughout the year, maybe for Mother's Day or in the summer, some pop ups here and there. Because I do love meeting, I mean, people, my fans, people that are buying my jewelry. I love to show them how I wear them, how you can, you know, double them, or how I put different, like my moonstone with my
I think we lost you. I can't hear you, Kary.
sorry about that. So I like how I can put different things together. So I mean, it's just one of those, uh, I just really enjoy meeting everybody and doing all of that. So yeah.
So, do you have your girls help you at all with any of this? Because I think I saw some of your girls on the website.
Yes, so Sophia, my oldest graduated, and obviously with the pandemic and everything else, life was really, really tough, and she couldn't really go and get a job. So it was amazing because she came to work for me for months. Now she's doing her own thing with real estate, but she still learned the business, and she helps me, and when I need her help. So I was very thankful that my daughter wanted to, and she's learned, and she sees that, hey, if my mom can do this business and she sees how I'm doing it, I mean, I'm the one man show, I'm the one going to the World Trade Center, making all the jewelry, designing it, mailing it, taking it to UPS. And I mean, she sees that it's a lot of work. It's not easy.
Well, I love that the way you just said mailing it and UPS. Who knew? I mean, obviously, if you want to order something, order it because you get it personally. I mean, pretty much
Oh,
delivered by you, right?
yes, yes. I package it, I deliver it, I do everything right now. Yes.
Wow. So let's talk. You mentioned earlier about your daughter that has depression. I also have a daughter who has depression. So I feel like so many similarities with you right now. So how are you dealing with it as a mom?
That was a really, really tough time in my life. And, it's a tough year. But yeah, I mean, I will say that, it's just so hard for a mom because I'm used to, like fixing my kids, like, take them to the doctor, make sure they're okay, make sure they're fed, make sure they're bathed. And this is one area that I just couldn't fix it. And it's so frustrating as a parent, and I just told her, sweetie, the most important thing is your mental health. I am here for you. I don't care about anything else. Whatever you need at any time, I'll give you whatever tools. And and I'm very thankful that she's been able to come to me, and I got able to give her some help, and she calls me when she's has anxiety, and I'm able to be there for her. I mean, and I know I cannot help her, but I'm giving her the tools and telling her that that's the most important thing. Everything else is secondary, and her health is the most important thing. It's like, I feel like mental health is like if you have cancer,
Mhm.
it's just a different form.
Yeah, so true. And a lot of people don't place a lot of emphasis on mental health. They're more like the physical health, and they don't think the mental health is anything that
And
people
it's
should even be worried
huge.
about. It's
Yeah, and
huge.
especially now, especially now with the pandemic and what so many people are going through. I mean, mental health is as important as your physical health. I mean, it's just maybe even more.
So, how do you, as a mom, deal with that? Because honestly, I know I struggle when my daughter started going through therapy and everything, talking about her depression, and she's also has borderline tendencies. The only reason why I'm sharing this because she actually came on and actually did a show with me. We did a mental health, so that's her story, but she's sharing it with me. Um, but how do you, as a mom, share, you know, deal with it?
As a mom, I think I just make sure that I call her all the time. I'm there for her. I talk to her, and when she tells me, "Mom, I'm fine and I'm doing good," and I mean, I have such a peace of mind. But as a parent, you're always worrying about that. So I'm just always I pray every night. That she's in a good place, and for all my kids, really. I mean, and just like I said, like I just talk to her a lot, and I just make sure that she knows that I'm always there for her, and whatever she needs, I will do.
So, what do you do for yourself, though?
Oh, for myself,
Yeah.
uh, like nothing. I
'Cause
mean,
you-
not for that. I mean, my therapy for me is my girls' nights. I mean, I love going out with my girlfriends. I love traveling, and that is really, I mean, my work. So yeah, I mean, I just keep myself busy. I will say, when I'm not having to deal with her or help her. Yes, I mean, I have my little getaways with my friends. I like to, do a lot of my work is therapy, designing and making the jewelry, and keeps me busy. So that's good.
See, because a lot of times the moms tend to focus on what's trying to fix or help the children that they sometimes get so dragged down that they forget they need to help themselves as well. That's
Yes,
the reason why I
for
would ask the
sure. No,
question.
and I tell everyone, it's so important to always have it's like a balance. You always need time for you because if you're not okay, you can help anyone. You cannot be a good mom, you cannot be a good wife, or a good friend. So you have to make sure that it's all a balance.
So we have a question. It says, how do you discipline yourself to make time for girls' getaway time?
I just schedule them. I book them, and I mean, I'm a big planner, so I book everything in advance, like months in advance, and that's how I do it. And then once you book it and you commit to a friend and you buy your tickets, then you force yourself to do those times.
So it's basically you make a commitment and you stick by it,
Hmm.
regardless of what's going on, unless your daughter needs you.
Well, obviously, if my daughter needed me, if things came up that were beyond my control, yeah. But other than that, I try to schedule things around my kids. Like I make sure that there's nothing going on major, and then I schedule it, and I communicate that with my family, and they know.
And then she says, planning, there it is again, got to stop flying by the seat of my pants. Now, do you fly by the seat of your pants at all, or do you kind of
You
plan, plan,
know,
plan, plan?
I I've been doing it more often now. Actually, I've always been a huge planner. And lately, I've been a little more like, okay, like if somebody invites me like last minute, like I'm like, if nothing is going on, I'll be like, okay, I'll do it. But it's harder for me. I'll say it's harder, but I'm trying to get better at it.
So you mentioned earlier, for those that are just tuning in, that you are a native of Mexico. How do you keep your culture alive for your children? Because obviously, they were born in the United States, correct?
Yes, they were born in the United States, and even though when they were little, I only spoke Spanish to them. Now it's like, oh my gosh, they go to school and they start with the English, and it's really, really hard. I pray for them with them every single night. I mean, obviously until they're like 15, really, because my almost 14-year-old still pray with her every night in Spanish. I definitely make sure that I take him to Mexico a few times a year, and I make them go eat the tacos al pastor from the street, and the torta ahogada, whatever I grew up with. They know about it. They love the tacos al pastor. I mean, my little one, when she was 9, she ate 10 tacos. My housekeeper is from Mexico, and she speaks Spanish to them all the time. And I keep all my Mexican traditions like Los Reyes Magos, the Three Kings. We do that every
Mm-hmm.
year. And la Rosca de Reyes. I do, all of the Mexican food in my house. They grew up like, we make, you know, everything that I grew up with, like picadillo or chiles rellenos. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
pollo en mole. I mean, all of the things. My kids know about it. They eat it. The Mexican candy, they're obsessed with it. It's like their favorite. So yeah, I mean, I just little my music. When they were little, I would make like I love Mexican music, so I would say, okay, if you can tell me what this song is about, I'll make. You make $10. So they will be listening to all my Mexican music, and they have to like try to figure out what the music was about. And I'm like, oh no, this is about this. They broke up, and now he saw her, and so it's like it's like a story. So yeah, I mean, I always try to make sure that they know about their culture for sure.
I love that. I love the Mexican music because when if you saw in the intro, when my oldest daughter got married, the thing that everybody went out on the dance floor and danced to were the Mexican songs, not the
Oh,
American songs, but the Mexican
oh,
songs.
and I love mariachi and everything. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have all of that in my kids' weddings. Hopefully, they'll allow
No,
it.
did your girls have quinceañeras or no?
No, that's not that. Quinceañeras is really a very for little towns in Mexico in general. Like not big cities don't have a lot of quinceañeras. But what we do is whenever they turn 15, instead of having that, I would take them in like a big trip anywhere they wanted to go in the world, because I think travel is so important, and I want them to see the world. So my oldest daughter picked Japan. My other daughter Olivia picked Thailand. So they both loved Asia, and then my son picked Africa. So we were in Africa for 3 weeks. So they all take me on these trips, and my little one, she'll be 15 next year, so I'll see where she takes me. But yeah, I definitely take them in different trips where just me and them, and because I want them to see the world. Like the culture and every part of the world is so important to me, and is like really my favorite thing to do is to travel and learn other cultures, foods, and everything.
So how do you juggle being a mom, being on a reality show, and doing your jewelry business as well, and plus being a wife? How do you juggle it all?
It's just the only way I know how to function, honestly. Like I feel like whenever I have nothing going on, I don't do anything. It's like I the more things I have going on, the better I function, which is crazy. But and then my kids are, gosh, I cannot believe, I was so busy with 4 little ones, and I'm down to one really. And she's so independent now. She's about to be 14, and she just does her homework and has her plans with her friends. So honestly, like, I don't have the carpools anymore and going here and going there. My kids are, I mean, I talk to them and I help them in different ways, but so that time freed up for me to be able to do my business and travel with them. And so it's just all kind of, I try to make it all kind of integrate together.
So, is there anything that you want to tell anybody that would want to try out for a reality show?
Oh, I mean, it has a lot of great positives, a lot of negatives. Obviously, if you decide to do it, you have to know that, you have to be yourself. And there's a lot of people that will love you, a lot of people that won't. You have to have thick skin, and you're just going to have to, really weigh the positives and the negatives.
You just brought up thick skin because obviously I know you get a lot of pushback. Number one, I know there's got to be a lot of racial stuff going on, but also too with some people that they have a favorite character, and you and the favorite character are not want to say character, favorite person on the show, just not a character on the show, and you are kind of like in a argument with each other. It's kind of hard, and you have to have a thick skin. And do you read your own press at all?
I mean, yeah, I do. But you also look at yourself some things, and I will say that, I mean, like everything, you go, I could have handled that situation differently. And so it's also like a learning experience, and it's also a little bit like therapy, because you kind of go through it and you learn a lot about yourself. Because not a lot of people get to watch themselves on TV, and see how you act, and then also see how other people react to it. And it's also a learning experience.
So how do you keep so positive? Because the whole time you're like so positive, you're smiling and you're like talking, and I can tell it's not acting because you're just like that on TV, and even on during our Instagram conversation, just a little snippet, you could tell you're always so sweet and so positive. So how do you stay like that and not let the world get you down?
Gosh, I mean, I've always been an optimist. I don't like to be a pessimist. And yeah, believe me, I mean, I go through hard times, and we all do. But I definitely feel like I do. I try to, the majority of the time, I try to look at the positive. Life is short, and I try not to let the negativity or, that bring me down. I mean, I try to make the best out of life. And, I've had a tough childhood, like I said, and tough things in my life, but like I come out of those better. And I'm honestly, like, it's a state of mind, I guess. I'm very blessed that I'm able to be positive and be happy in general, and make the most out of it. I'm very lucky, for sure.
Yeah. So what would you say to a little girl? I want to put a Latina girl in there because to me, like I said, you're a role model. What would you say to them about growing up in America when it's not really about their culture? What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, I would say, you are special no matter where you come from. You're always special, and you can, whatever you set your mind, you can do it and you can accomplish it. Don't let anyone tell you no. The most successful people out there being told no, you're not going to make it. So always, like, listen to your heart and go with it, and don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise, because those people that are telling you that, they're, like, it's their issues, not yours. So always keep going, and no matter where you're from, it's so important to always believe in yourself.
And to remember where you came from too, right?
Hmm. Of course.
So is there one last nugget that you want to leave us with since it's Women History, Women Empowerment Month that you would like to share with anybody?
I mean, I'm just, feel like we women are just so strong, and we need to, you know, empower each other more than bring each other down. And I think, like, I feel like men are always have each other's back. They never talk bad about each other. They will never, tell. If my husband would never tell me anything that her friend did. And as women, need to learn to do that more
Mm-hmm.
often. Need to have each other's back and help each other out, because I feel like in general, we love to bring each other down, and we need to change that, because until we start changing that, we're not gonna be more powerful. I mean, and I feel like that's why men are so much more powerful in general sometimes, because they have each other, and we
Yeah.
as women need to learn to have each other, and lift each other and help each other.
Okay, we do have one last question. It says, "What's your morning routine?" I've been working on establishing mine, so she's curious.
My morning routine is like, I don't. I'm always in a hurry, so I just like I don't have time to have a big routine at all. I just wake up. I definitely always eat breakfast. I like to have 90% of the time I have a couple eggs. and avocado. I love that. I drink a lot of green tea. I put my avocado cream in my eyes in the mornings, let it soak in to hydrate my eyes, and take a nice shower. I like to bring, like, it's so funny, a cup of ice in the shower and put it in my face. It kind of like makes me kind of wake up, it just feels good, and it's been great. So I don't know if that's a secret, but I do that a lot, and it's amazing.
I have never heard of ice in the shower. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, and it puffs my eyes. Like if I'm puffy, I'll put my eyes in the shower with my eyes and my face, and it just feels really good.
Oh, wow. And she says it sounds like she's my people, is what she said with the laughing emoji. So, Kary, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Kary Brit, and you can have me at Camo by Kary. The Camo by Kary is my Instagram. So yeah, I mean, my website is also camobykary.com. So love for your support, and
All right. Kary, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing this time with me and for actually agreeing to come on. And I mean, because that was like, I had a bucket list of women that I wanted on, and you were on my bucket list.
oh,
You were
thank
like the
you.
top.
Oh, thank you for having me on, and it was a pleasure. And thank you.
All right, guys, we will see you on the next chat from the blog cabin. Bye.